My name's Rhiannon Firth. I'm Senior Research Officer at the University of Essex. Okay, so my work's broadly on utopias, and that includes utopian political theory, practical utopian experiments like intentional communities, and I'm also interested in the idea of utopian pedagogy and how we can use sort of utopian thought and utopian practices to transform the way we look at the world and live in the world, I guess. The book chapter I wrote on moulding pedagogies, it's sort of a critique of the idea of education as something that is supposed to transform the subject into a sort of compliant member of society. It probably derives from the kind of Freirean critique of banking education, but it takes a broader idea of moulding, which actually includes some of the aspects of Freirean pedagogy. So we're critical of the idea of, the chapter was co-authored with my friend Andrew Robinson, and we're critical of the idea that education, that the purpose of education is to change people into kind of compliant members of society rather than sort of valuing or bringing out something within them, some sort of autonomous desires. We argue that education should be a sort of process of self-actualization rather than producing compliant subjects, and we critique various aspects of, we critique various approaches to education, including classical education and sort of Bildung, and we also critique some of the more critical approaches like Freirean pedagogy, saying that even these have a kind of teleological horizon, and the idea that critical subjects will still be a certain type of subject. And we draw on the work of Max Stirner, who sort of has the idea that there is a kind of that humans have a kind of autonomous ego or a sort of autonomous subjectivity, which a lot of theories don't. So this was in a different article that I wrote on somatic pedagogies, and in that article I looked at the ways in which the state, the neoliberal state, and the sort of therapeutic pedagogies it uses try to channel affect and emotions to produce compliant subjects. And I tried to think about how we can resist that, and I thought about how this kind of sort of oppressive pedagogies work on the body, and I drew on the work of Wilhelm Reich to say that sort of neoliberal pedagogies and, that sort of all authoritarian sort of statist pedagogies produce sort of character armour, which makes us, it acts on the body and the emotions, and I tried to think through some ways in which we might resist from that level as well.